Hi brothers and sisters, welcome back to my channel, The Grafted Ones. My name is Sister Edith and I go by Miriam Meekdahl on Facebook. Today is going to be part 2 of the agency series, okay? Um, Concerning the angel of Yahweh, okay? So the notes that I've gathered are from different sources, but today and possibly part 3 will be from Pastor Shane Vaughn. And then I also have some notes to share from brother and pastor Matthew Jansen, which I believe he has some great teachings. But let's get started. Today we're going to talk about understanding proxy, regency, and power of attorney. Okay, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just getting excerpts from this article. Okay, so proxy is one who stands for another with full authority. Okay. Regency is the office held by a regent, someone ruling on behalf of the true sovereign. Excuse me. Power of attorney is the legal right to speak, act, and even sign as another. These concepts were common in ancient monarchies. Kings would send proxies to marry on their behalf or regents to rule when they were absent. When a proxy spoke, the king spoke. To reject the proxy was to reject the king. Okay? The proxy did not speak on his own behalf. He bore the name, seal, and will of the king who sent him. The ancient kings understood the power of these concepts, using them to extend their influence and maintain control. Proxy and regency were tools to expand their reach, ensuring their will was done even in their absence. A proxy bearing the king's name and seal spoke with the authority of the king himself. To reject a proxy was an unthinkable insult, an act of defiance against the crown. These representatives were not mere messengers. They embodied the king's power and presence, a physical manifestation of royal agency. Okay? The concept of power of attorney, okay, is granted a chosen individual the right to act as the king's legal surrogate. With this authority, they could sign documents, speak on the king's behalf, and make decisions that carried the full weight of the monarchy. It was as if the king himself had penned the words or taken action. Hold on a minute. Okay, so just as proxies and agents acted on behalf of their sovereign, so too would divine agents act on behalf of Yahweh and the heavenly council. Okay? So the same is true of Yahweh when he appointed divine proxies throughout scripture. Sometimes they were prophets and sometimes angels. Okay? And one in particular held a unique role. He carried Yahweh's name, presence, and even divine prerogatives. So Yahweh's representative possessed authority. Okay? And his actions directly reflected God's will, or Yahweh's will. Okay? And were considered divinely ordained. I'm just, I highlighted the important key points here, okay? In ancient Israel, prophets were sent with Yahweh's words and were addressed as if Yahweh himself were speaking, okay? With divine authority, as though the Almighty El spoke directly, okay? When Moses spoke to Pharaoh, it was Yahweh confronting Egypt, okay? In Roman law, the principle of a, quote, legal representative acting with the full force of the principal's authority was binding even to death. If the proxy signed your execution, you died as if the ruler himself had ordered it. This is why Scripture often records Yahweh speaking in the first person through an angel or a prophet. This was not a violation of truth. It was the legal operation of legal regency. Okay, so where were we? I'm sorry, I have had distractions with my cats. I have two of them that keep picking on one of my other, I have 3 cats. So, they like to pick on this one particular female cat that I have. So I have to, monitor and make sure that they don't hurt her or anything. So I apologize. Where was I? So we were talking about Roman law, okay? The principle of a legal representative acting with the full force of the principal's authority was binding even to death. If the proxy signed your execution, you died as if the ruler himself had ordered it. Okay, this is why Scripture often records Yahweh speaking in the first person through an angel or a prophet. This was not a violation of truth. It was the legal operation of divine regency. Okay? We have to dissect, in other words, what the meaning, the process is, so that way you understand the core of what this is talking about. So you understand how it works in Scripture, okay? To reject the prophet was to reject Yahweh, okay? To disobey the angel was to defy the King of Heaven. That is why the consequences were often immediate and severe. The authority was not partial, it was complete. Even today, if you give someone power of attorney, their signature becomes your own, granting someone authority to act on your behalf. Okay? Today bestows their signature with the potent weight of your own legal identity. In a courtroom, your lawyer stands and speaks as you. This is not fraud, it is lawful agency. Yahweh, however, ever faithful, employed the same structure to descend into our realm without destroying us. Because remember, Yah is too holy, okay? And we cannot come to his presence without being destroyed, okay? Or annihilated. He commissioned a singular angel, his regent, okay? His proxy, his voice. This angel did not merely represent Yahweh. He embodied his name, bore his authority, and acted as his living presence among men. All right? The angel of Yahweh can speak as Yahweh, forgive sins, and demand obedience. And it lays the foundation for why misunderstanding this structure leads to false doctrines, misdirected worship, and theological confusion. Okay? This is why people, when they're reading scripture, they don't understand agency, and so they, in their minds, think, well, that this must be Yah, okay, or they intermingle Yah and Yeshua, okay, thinking, okay, well, this is Yeshua is Yahweh. And see, that's a big deal, brothers and sisters, if we don't know, because it leads, again, to misdirected worship, all right, and confusion among the believers. This is how false doctrines arise, okay? The angel of Yahweh is not simply a messenger. They are the embodiment of Yahweh's authority, with the power to forgive sins and demand obedience. So, doesn't that sound familiar? Who was able to forgive sins? Wasn't Yeshua able to forgive sins? Yes. That doesn't mean he's Elohim, God, Yahweh, okay? He had the authority given to him, full authority, okay, from Yah, to be able to forgive sins. He had the authority as if it was Yahweh himself. He came to bring the Torah and preach it. Yahweh's word. That is Yahweh's word, is the Torah, brothers and sisters. Okay? So their words are Yahweh's words. And their actions are an extension of Yahweh's divine plan. To reject the angel is to reject Yahweh himself. Okay? An act of defiance with immediate and severe repercussions. Remember Deuteronomy 18:18, okay? Where Yah told Prophet Moshe, because he was a prophet as well, he told him that he was going to send a prophet like him. And that the people were to listen to that prophet. And if they didn't listen to that prophet, that means they didn't obey him, then they will be cut off. So, there you have it, brothers and sisters. So, see how important it is for us to understand how agency works, okay? And so agency is Yahweh using his messengers or angels, okay, his prophets. He can use anyone, okay, to get his word out, or in a message, or, you know, his will, okay? So I'm going to end this here, and I'm going to go straight into part 3. And I hope that this is of some interest to everyone, because it really is important for us to understand, so that we don't, you know, get misled and believe and distort the worship of our Creator. Okay? All right, well, Y'all be blessed. I'll see you on the next one.